while we are journeying into mechanics, one very important and critical element that we will encounter very often in problem solving and otherwise is the inclined plane element. And over a period of time, so many variants, so many variations around the inclined plane have emerged. And it is important to consolidate all inclined plane knowledge in one place. It's important that we take delta steps and address all issues in all variants that we see in inclined planes. My objective in a few sessions is to give you a complete, holistic, comprehensive understanding of inclined planes. We start with an inclined plane whose surface is smooth, and we will initially look at an inclined plane that is at rest. Inclined plane not moving, a fixed inclined plane. And slowly I'm going to release bundles of knowledge. From this point, a fixed inclined plane, I'm going to allow the inclined plane to move. And then look at the moving inclined plane in very many ways. Let's see what happens. Alright. So here's our inclined plane. And there is a mass small m, a particle of mass small m, resting on the surface of a smooth inclined plane. So first things first, let's try and understand unequivocally, without ambiguity, the forces acting on small m. We are going to draw the free body diagram of the particle resting on the inclined plane, and we are going to draw the free body diagram of the inclined plane itself. Right? So first of all, let me look at this small m. What about this small m? What are the forces acting on small m? Very clearly, there is mg downwards. Vertically, this is the vertical direction, right? And there is normal reaction n, which makes an angle theta with the vertical. I hope you realize all these angle dispositions. If this angle is theta, if the inclined plane makes an angle theta with the horizontal, a normal to the inclined plane will make an angle theta with the vertical. This is the vertical direction. This is the vertical direction, right? Or you could have looked at it geometrically this way. This is theta, this is 90 degrees, this is 90 minus theta. So this will be theta, and then vertically opposite angle theta, and so on and so forth, right? And then we have n acting this way, perpendicular to the plane. That makes an angle theta with the vertical. So only two forces acting on small m. What are the two forces? mg like this, and n perpendicular to the plane. Yes or no? Now, since n and mg are in different directions, it makes sense, in order that we could deal with them in an organized manner, it makes sense to resolve all these forces in two mutually perpendicular directions. It makes sense to resolve these forces in two mutually perpendicular directions. What we could choose as two mutually perpendicular directions are, we could choose a direction parallel to the plane. This is the parallel direction. And a direction perpendicular to the plane. This is the perpendicular direction, perpendicular to the plane. So all forces in a certain sense can be consolidated in these two mutually perpendicular directions, or it could be any other choice, which is all right. Now, in the perpendicular direction, let me look at the perpendicular direction perpendicular to the plane. I could have resolved mg as mg cos theta perpendicular to the plane, right? And parallel to the plane would be mg sin theta. So here we have set of forces acting on small m, normal reaction from the inclined plane, perpendicular to the plane, and then mg, which could be replaced by two other forces, which is mg cos theta perpendicular to the plane and mg sin theta parallel to the plane. Yes or no, right? Now, the inclined plane side of the story. So, on the inclined plane, what are the forces? It's weight, capital Mg acting downwards, normal reaction R from the ground. Now the inclined plane exerts on small m a normal reaction n this way, right? N this way. The inclined plane exerts on small m n this way. So as a consequence of Newton's third law, small m will exert on the inclined plane a normal reaction n this way. A normal reaction n this way. So then on the inclined plane, what are the forces? A normal reaction n, and who exerts this normal reaction n on the inclined plane? Small m, that is this particle on capital M. And then of course there is weight of the inclined plane, capital Mg, and there is normal reaction R. Now again, if you really think about it, In the vertical direction, the inclined plane has no acceleration. So n cos theta mg must balance r. R is a self-adjusting force, right? So r then, for the inclined plane, r then is like a capital Mg plus n cos theta. Capital Mg plus n cos theta, right? In the vertical direction. Now, do you realize this n sin theta is unbalanced? And what would it want to do? It would want to cause the inclined plane to accelerate leftwards. It would want to cause the inclined plane to accelerate leftwards. So something has to prevent it from accelerating leftwards. So what has to be done is, to keep the inclined plane fixed, we would have to counter n sin theta. We would have to counter n sin theta. So this n sin theta could have been countered, let's say, if I had placed it against a wall, for example. If I had placed it against a wall, for example, then this n sin theta could have been countered. Or if the inclined plane was placed on a very rough surface, then the tendency of the inclined plane to move to the left owing to n sin theta would have been cancelled by frictional force acting on it to the right. Yes or no? Static friction acting to the right would have countered. One way or the other, by some means, we are preventing n sin theta from producing an acceleration on the inclined plane. The inclined plane remains unaccelerated, right? So this is the situation that we are talking of now. So unaccelerated inclined plane, fixed inclined plane, by some mechanism, by some mechanical mechanism, n sin theta is countered. Now, look at small m, small m. Would you not want to believe that in a direction perpendicular to the plane, fixed plane, small m has no acceleration, because if in the fixed plane small m had an acceleration perpendicular to the plane, it is going to lose contact with the plane, right? So no acceleration in this direction of small m. That means net of all forces in this direction is 0. That means n must be equal to mg cos theta. But this is only for a fixed inclined plane. Only if the inclined plane is fixed will the normal reaction be equal to component of weight, which is mg cos theta. If the inclined plane was moving, we'll see very shortly that n is not mg cos theta. Now, so on this particle, what's the only unbalanced force acting on this particle m? That's mg sin theta. That's mg sin theta is the only unbalanced force acting. And what does this unbalanced force do? It produces an acceleration a parallel to the plane. It produces an acceleration a parallel to the plane. So mg sin theta produces on the particle an acceleration a parallel to the plane, which means a then will be g sin theta. So on an inclined plane that is fixed and that has a smooth plane, smooth inclined surface, if a particle moves down the plane parallel to the plane, then its acceleration is going to be g sin theta. That's the story of a fixed inclined plane. What I'm going to next migrate to is I'm going to bear with the consequences of n sin theta not being balanced. That means I'm going to look at how n sin theta causes this to accelerate, and if n sin theta is left free to accelerate this, what would be the acceleration developed by the inclined plane on capital M? This is what I'm going to explore next, right? But I hope all of you understand this very basic premise of a fixed inclined plane whose inclined surface is smooth. The acceleration of a particle parallel to the plane is g sin theta. There is no acceleration perpendicular to the plane. Acceleration perpendicular to the plane would have caused the mass small m to lose contact with the plane. Yes or no? Thank you so much.